go as retail investors, you know, if CMEX owns 80%, then they're going to vote in their favor, and you kind of know how it will go based on that. So that's the thing about it too. And then it's just that these fees take away from the dividends, but there's still value in the stock in terms of capital gain and stuff, you know. So
yeah, what I was saying, right? If I read, well, because these are just excerpts, right? So I'm not saying that this represents the entire story, but these are the highlights of the story. And when I read through this, I don't think it's unreasonable that they're paying what they're paying. What I think is not great is how they went about the PR nightmare, right? So maybe they could have handled the situation better, but it doesn't mean that they have to back up. Anyway, we have more stories to look at, and then you guys want to play Jeopardy. So, and I know this is similar to last week because we covered CCC and then Marita, so we're covering CCC and then Marita again. So this news story came out, Marita to restructure, right? So it says it's going to be reorganized as part of a new financial holding company to satisfy BOJ regulations. And that's kind of a longer, well, medium-ish term thing. They said that they had a strong 2020 to 2021. And I know that when we went through the Q3 earning highlights last week, we were like, wow, you know, that's pretty good. You guys may have heard about the Cornerstone thing, and Cornerstone owns most of Marita. So my mom was talking to her friend and she said, oh, you know, you're looking into, well, about me. Oh, you're looking into Cornerstone and Marita, do your research because, you know, some people are really suspicious about those earnings. And I have no comment on that because, I mean, I don't have any proof that these earnings are shaky. I mean, what I know is that there's significant asset price inflation, right? Meaning the things that Marita owns are being worth higher numbers. It doesn't mean they're worth more money, they're worth higher numbers of money. And that might make their balance sheets look higher. But I didn't do enough research to speak on this with authority. And if you guys have anything you want to comment about that?
I don't know, in the news or just market talk in general, they have their suspicions here and there about Barita. And, you know, if you guys see those YouTube ads that they put out all the time, they actually addressed it one time because it's like, wait, 3 APOs, how are you on your 3rd APO already and stuff? And it performed super well. And they said, you know, everything is up and up. We're not doing anything bad, nothing illegal. So I don't know. I mean, there are all these regulatory bodies, so hopefully everything is in place. But some people have their questions about it, which is fair.
Yeah, the Trinidadian, because of the first, I don't remember the name of the company, but that Trinidadian bank investment into Barito, it made like journalists they're just kind of like, I don't know, they had like a chip on the shoulder and they kept going after them for whatever reason. But like,
Ordain is saying it didn't look shaky.
Yeah, to be fair, I can see why people would be like concerned with all the connected party like trades and stuff. But yeah.
One thing I wanted to talk about was the significant asset price inflation. So here's time for a couple memes, right? So I saw this online. This was from Liquidity. The reason I cropped it out is because like I needed it to be bigger. So you guys know about Dollar Tree, right? It's a store that sells stuff for $1. And no, they're not selling stuff for $1 anymore. They're selling stuff for $1.25, right? Or that's what they're aiming to sell for. So I as in this is a screenshot from social media. I have not verified this information, but you know, it looks like it's from Bloomberg. So yes.
Finally, I am
Jerome, by the way, is Jerome Powell, so he's the Fed chairman for the US Fed, so that's basically like their BOJ. So he gets to decide whether they print more money or not, and as we know, printing money is tied to inflation, regardless of what MMT, is that what you call it, modern monetary theory says. So yes, if Dollar Tree is no longer selling things for $1, then that's pretty interesting. More memes. So this same channel, Liquidity, it saw this Twitter thing, and then it says, oh, we need better financial literacy ASAP, because this person is saying like, oh, you know, the reason why Canadian healthcare is cheaper than US healthcare, it has nothing to do with inflation, right? It has a lot of other things that we're not going to get into right now. But then this person says, we need stimulus checks. The inflation is absolutely killing the fixed and low income people. So the thing that's causing the inflation is what you need more of to stop the effects of inflation. And that's why, guys, we try to promote, you know, So knowledge is power. Financial literacy is important, because if you're attending the Young Investors Club and you're saying things like this, then you're probably not paying attention. Inflation is something we cover almost every week because it's so relevant right now. So a couple more memes about this thing. So apparently Powell, so Jerome is Powell, so is Jerome Powell. So Jerome, his first name, Powell is his last name. Apparently he's getting nominated for a second term. I didn't check this information. These are just memes I collected over the past week. And it's like game of printers for the money printer. And he's just thinking,
yeah, it's correct, Jason. He was just renominated to be the Fed chair for the next 4 years. But Biden was actually interviewing another person named Brainard. I think her first name is Lael, Lael, Brainard, but she's more relaxed when it comes to inflation and seeing where it could lead.
He's more relaxed than Jerome Powell.
She's more relaxed. She's more dovish. Dovish means that they're usually more relaxed on inflation. Hawkish is the opposite. So Jerome Powell is more hawkish than her.
That's
so
wild.
Inflation is killing America right now and pretty much everybody else. So I think that's the main reason why he said, just stay. And plus he's been dealing with the situation that's been turbulent. So I guess
America has inflation figures that look like they're a developing country right now. And the ECB, I think last year at this time, they were saying, oh, we're not going to care about inflation. We're just going to put liquidity in the economy.
They were saying it might be transitory, so they didn't want to pull back on, they didn't want to increase the policy rate or increase interest rates too soon, because that could cause potentially deflation. Because if all of the supply chain issues iron out, if all the problems with labor irons out, and they've already increased the policy rate, they might go into a deflation spiral. So that's why they've been kind of waiting and seeing, and why they were saying inflation is transitory. But it looks like Jerome Powell is gonna start to really move towards increasing interest rates and calming down inflation by spring to summer 2022.
Well, thanks for bringing that, because you're telling me a lot of stuff that I didn't know, and I think a lot of us are hearing this for the first time. But one thing that I say that's pretty controversial is a lot of this has to do with real production. So inflation happens because you have a bigger gap between real output and nominal output, right? Now, a lot of the things that happened recently, and I'm not saying that this had to do with any president or his administration, just look at time and what happened. Natural resources in the US have not been being exploited as they have been, for better or for worse. You have environmentalists, you have people, I'm just saying, the production, whether it's more efficient, whether it's more environmentally friendly, has not been what it used to be, right? For many reasons. And the deflation might start to happen if that production side, we say supply side, supply side is not that, they were saying Keynesian economics, you're not going to increase the interest rate because that's a demand side phenomenon. And those people, they were in the Cornerstone interview. Am I allowed to say that here? They were in an interview, and they were being asked about the BOJ policy rate and what happened with it, and do they think it's a good idea? They were saying, that's going to affect the demand side of the economy. I'm like, does it matter which side the economy is? But if you believe in the circular flow of income, you're not going to. But okay, I'm probably getting.
Well, we're all passionate about it. It affects everybody, so I don't blame you.
Exactly, because.
I would say the main reason Biden reinstated Powell, even though Powell is a Republican, politically wise, is because inflation has killed former presidencies before. It killed Carter back in the 70s. Biden can't risk that with the midterms and everything coming up. So it's both political and economical. So I actually agree with him reinstating Powell back into the Fed chair for the next 4 years.
Probably.
Yeah, it was a smarter choice. Strategically.
All right, enough about the memes. That was fun though. Okay, so little more news. I'm probably even over 10 minutes now. VM Investments Limited, they were acquiring 100% of this bank in Barbados, and they were saying we're in unprecedented growth mode. And see what we were talking about. So inflation. I'm not saying that any of us here know more than these experts at VM Group, right? All I'm saying is you need to be very careful in a highly inflationary environment what you call growth, because just because the numbers are getting bigger doesn't mean that that's coming from real growth. It could just be nominal growth. Airport arrivals, these keep falling. Oh yeah, you were saying, Matthew?
Yeah, I just wanted to give a slight correction. They're not buying the bank, they're buying the mutual fund trading part of the bank.
The common shares.
Yeah.
Yes, okay, that's true. That was my bad. Thank you. Airport arrivals. So when we look at 11 billion, it looks big, but if that fell 70%, that's not great. The airport people are saying that things are improving and no airports are expected to shut down. So that's nice to hear, but that's a future projection based on data that's not very optimistic. So we'll see how that goes. Just wanted to share that with you. And now something that I'm going to try and not talk too long about is the whole Great Resignation thing, which primarily in the US, but worldwide, you have workers primarily in retail and hospitality sectors quitting their jobs, right? With how they were treated with the pandemic and all. Now, in Jamaica, apparently we're seeing that happen as well. And when I first saw this article, I thought it was somebody in some, sheltered reality that wrote it, because like, is that what we're seeing? But then they provided this data and said that the Companies Office of Jamaica has seen so many more persons applying for new company names, new business registrations, that yeah, it's pretty interesting that this might actually spur some growth that we want to see.
Oh, that's really interesting. Before you just move on there, these people I'm about to talk about quickly, they're not necessarily like quitting their jobs or starting companies, but it's ironic because right now, as we're in this meeting, the Jamaica Constabulary Force police are on a strike and they're not going to work anymore. So this is it's kind of ironic. It's not the same, but it kind of rhymes.
Are they on strike because of pay?
Low pay and also money apparently that has been owed to them for like the last 12, 13 years since 2008. So
how does that make sense? How are they owed money? Like owed wages, or they were
I have no idea, but they're at the Supreme Court right now.
Bonuses
so another group of public sector workers that are not working right now. So that's what you will, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, I think Khalil Mitchell downtown strike due to a court case about non-payment of overtime. So there might not be payment for overtime.
Thanks for that. Okay, yeah. So as in, guys, when we say these things, we always say, okay, let's watch it and see what happens. But it's good to like watch things and know what's happening. Love this discussion, even though it's probably like way too long. I think this is the last story now that we're going to look at. So many things are happening as this year closes, right? So that's why there's so many stuff. So Coca-Cola, they're buying this energy drink company, or yes. Now, it doesn't really seem to be a very intrusive takeover because the company gets to maintain its headquarters, maintain its exec, but they're using Coke's bottling network. Now, this is interesting. Coca-Cola has to have a big bottling network because you think of soda is a very bulky thing. So it's cheap to make because it costs nearly nothing to carbonate water. And if you have syrup and you have water, and that's soda. Syrup is like a really concentrated thing that you can ship all over to the country and then bottle it there, distribute nearby. If you were to ship the soda, that takes up way more space, it's way heavier, it doesn't make any sense. So Coca-Cola is naturally going to have a very large bottling network. That's how it's cost effective. So if they were in New York, I don't really know how their distribution chain was working. That seems to be just a very wise idea. Coca-Cola already owned Powerade, Pepsi owned Gatorade. So that's just to show you like the world of conglomerates that we live in. And yeah, their operating profit was pretty high. So that's interesting. Again, soda makes nearly nothing to make. The bottle is probably the most expensive part of it. So
I guess a fun fact, Jamaica is a part of their bottling network. I think Wisynco bottles for them.
Yeah, so, that's true. Yeah. Does Wisynco do it for Pepsi as well? Like it's just one plant and then they contract them for everybody?
I have no clue. I know Coca-Cola has something to do with them.
Who was? Oh yeah, because Mark was saying when Mark was here last week, and I asked him, "Oh, rum and Pepsi or rum and Coke?" He said, "Oh yeah, I see you like Wisynco." That was funny. Okay, yeah, guys. So that was an interesting segment. If you want to share anything before we go into Jeopardy, today's a chill day. That's why I think we can manage that much discussion. So yeah. We have anything else you guys wanted to add? Some news that you saw that we didn't include, or some thoughts? If any of us said something controversial and you want to roast us about it.
Just to say something quickly, I was watching a video the other day on inflation, and someone said a good way to find out like how much inflation is going on before like you get public statements from like institutions is that you can look at like some reports or like some data releases from like big companies that sell a wide scale of like products. So like
Mhm.
Costco, for an example, they sell such a wide amount of stuff in America. They actually have almost accurate inflation data that they release before the
Right.
Fed gets it out and stuff like that. So I just wanted to share that if anyone wanted to like keep up or be ahead of like the inflation curve or anything like that.
That reminds me of what Bloomberg Market Concepts was saying. Like by the time that the data gets published, it's so lagging that you have to look for the things that are correlated.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So I stopped sharing. Thanks for this discussion, guys. This was pretty cool. I think I'm to go straight into Jeopardy. Am I, Ali?
Yes, you should.
Okay.
Oh, we need to
So
assign some teams.
right,
Following you.
right.
So guys,
So I think we're doing 2 teams.
yeah, 2 teams with 5 persons, I believe. So
Hey,
let
can
me
we
see.
have volunteers for 5
Wait, can we
persons?
have volunteers?
By the way, guys, this is in good fun. But I'm not judging you. I'm not speaking for anybody else. But if you feel like you're going to look stupid, then you know that's not the point. We're just trying our best.
You know what? I
Hopefully,
think
I
I should
don't have
stop the
anything wrong on
recording.
this because this wasn't fixed.
I mean,
Should I stop the recording?
no. Wait, why do you want to stop it?
I mean, it's just fun and games. I don't think it needs to be recorded, especially if somebody says something that's, yeah. Maybe it's better we just stop it.
That's a stop what?
The recording.
Oh,
Huh?
the recording. Okay, cool. Yeah.